This is the Orioles POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, June 10th, and we're coming to you live on YouTube on the Locked On Podcast Network, talking about this Baltimore Orioles loss to the Detroit Tigers. 5-3 the final, just now happening at Camden Yards. Hello, my name is Luke Slabaugh. As always, I am your post-game show host, henceforth known as the POSTCAST here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Before we continue, go ahead, leave me a comment, your thoughts on this 5-3 loss, thoughts on the season so far, particularly Cade Povich's performance and the offense's performance in this two-run loss to one of the American League's premier teams, the Detroit Tigers, leading that AL Central Division. We'll start tonight with the turning point. Left-hander Cade Povich trying to make his mark at home. He has struggled so far this season, and it got out of hand before he could even hit the 5-inning mark.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
We've talked all season about Orioles starters not getting the shutdown inning after the offense gives them any run support, and thus was the case in two consecutive innings with Cade Povich. We'll start with the latter first, the most recent and latest example. We go top five. Cade gets two quick outs. He's trailing 2-1 right now. He gets ahead 1-2 on Riley Green, and then just lumps a curveball down the middle. Green doubles to right field, extending the inning and putting a runner in scoring position for Detroit. Next batter is Dylan Dingler. I often get that name mixed up with Jace Tingler, the former MLB manager that sounds like he could have a career in some other business. Fastball inside, not a bad pitch to Dingler, inside outed to right field, gave Detroit a 3-1 lead. Game is still salvageable. It's within reach. And Povich works a 3-2 count on the next batter, Spencer Torkelson. Leaves a fastball inside, and Torkelson, with his premier power, hits a homer to center field, made it a 5-1 ball game. At that point, the O's saw fit to have their first mound visit of the game right after that, after the game had gotten out of hand. And middle of the ball game, down 4 runs, the O's have shown very rarely that they are able to mount a comeback in that scenario. Enter Sir Anthony Dominguez. Couple of batters later, Zach McKinstry hits his second triple of the game off of Povich to left center field. Colton Cowser just diving and missing at the ball. And that's all she wrote. We're talking a lot about Cade Povich this year. This is his 28th start at the major league level. In those starts, he is 5-13 with a 5.31 ERA, 140 and 2/3 innings pitched, so roughly 5 innings per start. Are those an effective 5 innings? I'll let you be the judge. Povich has a 7.59 ERA at home this season. We're starting to get a sense that this might be who he is. A fringe bottom of the rotation starter who is in this role right now because management doesn't want to experiment with someone else. They seemed willing at the start of this year to throw in a Brandon Young, a Cody Petit, a Chase McDermott. It just seems like every time Povich is given any sort of run support, it is coughed up almost immediately. We've beaten that to death of the O's pitchers. Dean Kramer, Charlie Morton was egregious, and at some points even Tomoyuki Sagano. There was a struggle to have shutdown innings early in this season. The 25-year-old probably gets the most excuses, and lack of experience at the major league level is a good one. Now we have a 28 start sample size. You give him another month in the big leagues, that is equivalent to a full season sample size. This might be who he is. The tipping point might have been an inning earlier. Tie game, top of the 4th. Again, 2 quick outs, and in fact, redemption for Zach McKinstry after his first triple of the game gets him to strike out on a sweeper low. So there's 2 outs. In that moment, Dave Johnson on color noted that Povich might have just lost complete focus. With 2 quick outs, falls behind 3-1 to Wencel Perez, who later hits a double to left field. Javi Baez up next, hits a high fastball to right field, goes opposite field. It's a 2-1 ball game as Perez comes around to score. No 1, 2, 3 innings for Cade Povich in this start. And has been the knock. Povich cannot consistently go 5 innings in an Orioles uniform. In 6 of 12 starts this season, he has failed to reach that mark. And of those starts, which ones have been effective? The final line on Cade: 4 2/3, 5 earned runs, 9 hits, 6 strikeouts, a walk, and the aforementioned home run given up to Spencer Torkelson. What Povich reminds me of is a loogie. Remember the loogie? Pretty much extinct in today's Major League Baseball game. In fact, with the 3-batter minimum, they are pretty much extinct. Lefty, 1-out only guy. Randy Choate, Jesse Orosco, the former Oriole. Great examples of guys who came in for just one guy, a left-hander, lefty on lefty, get him out. Now, in a perfect world, that might be Cade Bovich's bread and butter. With the 3-batter minimum, we won't see that. And as I've hinted at in episodes prior, what seems like the right idea for a competitive team, or a team that aspires to be competitive with the trade deadline still a ways away and still sitting 7.5, 8 games back in the wild card, is a piggyback scenario. If Cade Povich shows that he self-immolates in the 3rd and 4th inning, there has to be a backup plan or an advance plan. Perhaps he comes in relief of a Trevor Rogers. Show them 2 different kinds of left-handed pitchers. Heck, even Chase McDermott. The stuff has more play and more potential with the right-hander. Yes, he's the O's best pitching prospect by default. Not saying that that's great. Perhaps when Brandon Young is effective and ready to go. Keegan Aiken even. Scott Bluette seems to have found the magic potion in the bullpen. Going 2 innings tonight, not giving up any runs. Scott Bluette. How about that? Go ahead, leave your comments in the chat, as we are live right now on YouTube. If you're on the replay as well, on demand on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast for free, I want to say thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Orioles postcast. They say to only say nice things. If you got something nice to say it or say nothing at all. So we're going to keep this short. We're back after this. First, I want to give a shout out to one of the main sponsors of the show, and it's Supply House. I'd mentioned that my washing machine is broke. And when the time comes to consult with the landlord and figure out what the heck we're doing, we're going to Supply House. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical. It's the reliable way to get products online. Website is easy to use, cleanly formatted, and got over 200K parts from 400 plus top brands. You're going to find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you're always going to talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now I pose to you, it is your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. One other sponsor on tonight's show, it's Monarch Money. You know, people like us, we're just living paycheck to paycheck, and one day that money is just gone. Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, gives you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not a budgeting app alone. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop managing your money, start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I was astounded by how much DoorDash I ate. Man, raising canes in my belly. And now that Monarch's telling me not to do that, I don't do that. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's all one word, LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Now back to the show, folks. Let's get after it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Hat tip to Jordan Westburg. He recovers from the mistakes that I'm about to go into from the recently activated Orioles and shows some fight. Homering in the 9th inning against right-hander Will Vest made it a 5-3 ball game. And that, of course, is the final of tonight's postcast as the Tigers beat the Orioles 5-3. And prior to that, going to be honest with you, a lot of hype surrounding Jordan Westburg, Cedric Mullins, Colton Cowser, all back in the lineup together. Colton, of course, activated on the most recent West Coast road trip. So is Ramon Laureano. I am booking it through this today. Lightning fast. It's going to be a hot take and one that's not well received. Prior to the 8th and ninth inning, none of them really seemed interested in having legitimate at-bats. I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know if it's what they saw from the opener, left-hander Brant Herter, or even more so being confused about the right-hander main starter Sawyer Gipson-Long. But what we saw out of the Orioles offense for maybe 6 or 7 innings tonight was reprehensible. Bottom 2, Jordan Westburg, recently activated today, mind you, from his assignment to Norfolk. Third pitch he sees back in the big leagues. Grounds out to Gleyber Torres. Colton Cowser, first pitch he sees at home for the first time in forever. Rolls over to Spencer Torkelson. Now, both of these come in the bottom of the second with a runner on, so these are productive outs to get that runner to third base. Ryan O'Hearn, mind you. So cool. Maybe my mind's not right. We continue on. Bottom 4, Sawyer Gipson-Long is now in the main starter for Detroit. He has thrown 3 pitches. And what does Jordan Westburg do? Swings at the first pitch and rolls over to Javi Baez. Colton Cowser fooled twice by Gipson-Long, striking out on changeups on consecutive at-bats. So those bottom 3, Westburg, Cowser, and Mullins, of the recently activated O's, start 0 for 8 tonight. And none would have reached base except for Westburg involuntarily getting hit by a pitch. Mullins was better at working the count, however, he showed some rust. And Ramon Laureano, also recently activated, looked wildly confused against left-hander Brant Herter in the bottom of the first, striking out looking on a sweeper that was high and in the zone. And to that end, I would say, what was with this ultra-aggressive plate approach? Yes, you eke across 3 runs, so moral victory maybe. But what happened to taking a pitch? There was an episode a few days ago that Connor did, excellent by the way, trying to diagnose the struggles of Adley Rutschman, Ryan Mountcastle, and the now demoted Heston Kjerstad. And one of the knocks on Adley was that he was waiting and automatically taking the first or second pitch in at-bats. And the solution, the diagnosis, was to swing early. I think everyone on the roster tonight took that advice to heart because there was a lot of hacking and whacking. The best at-bats by far came back-to-back in the bottom of the third. Jackson Holliday had singled, and Adley Rutschman flied out. Gunnar Henderson at the plate with 2 outs and works this incredible at-bat, 10 pitches against Herter, fouling off one after one after one, and eventually puts bat to ball and singles to right field. Made it a 1-1 ball game. There was hope for the Orioles yet. And Ramon Laureano did the same thing. 9-pitch at bat with Chase Lee now in, the right-hander, eventually strikes out high. But the 2 best at-bats, and mind you, Gunnar did not look good for a couple of those pitches. 1-1 count on that was a sweeper in on the hips that he was able to foul off. And then 1 and 2, the 6th pitch of the at-bat, which was a foul ball. Again, ball started on his hips and ended there. Was never a strike, not even out of the hand. And yet he was able to foul it off, live to see another day. And that's when it's fine to be ultra aggressive. You can make contact with the ball. Henderson has shown the ability to do that. He's starting to show some life at the plate. Had a double. And the O's could have made their mark. They're down 5-2. Believe this is the 8th inning, yes. Adley Rutschman hits a sac fly to score Jackson Holiday, who had doubled. Gunnar Henderson doubles against Gibson Long. Brings in right-hander Tommy Canely. Ramon Laureano works a walk. The tying run comes to the plate in Ryan O'Hearn. And he gets out ahead of Canely. 3-0. The next pitch, the 3-0 pitch, the changeup, bottom of the zone fringe. The mass and broadcast of Kevin Brown and Dave Martinez violently appeared to think that it was a ball. And of course, that would have boded well, would have given you the bases loaded with 2 outs. And O'Hearn takes it for a strike, then fouls off a changeup even further off the plate, and then flails, goes down swinging on the 6th pitch of the at-bat, a changeup at the shins. And that was all she wrote. It was nice to see Westburg hit a home run in his return. In the corresponding moves, with Mullins activated and Westburg activated off the IL, Heston Kjerstad has been optioned to AAA, and Emmanuel Rivera DFA'd. For Kjerstad, it was either Norfolk or Shutter Island. It appeared to be mentals. It appeared to be a case of the yips at this point. Heston's very talented. He may still one day become a very good baseball player. Is it an Orioles uniform? Maybe. But the deterioration and the regression over time against off-speed pitches, and particularly in the field, playing behind the ball, like chasing the ball to the route, rather than getting a good first step. Many commenters have picked that up and detailed that here on YouTube. So Heston, it's time to get right. Get his mentals right. Kick some butt against AAA pitching, if you can do that. Rivera, might be time to go separate ways. Jorge Mateo, minutes before first pitch, put on the 10-day IL with left elbow inflammation. Luis Vasquez, middle infielder, is recalled from AAA. He was hitting .280 with a .792 OPS and 5 home runs in the International League. We carry on. And tomorrow, the Baltimore Orioles will take it to right-hander Casey Mize. He is the scheduled starter, 6-1 with a 2.91 ERA, proving to be the ace that Detroit wanted when they selected him number 1 overall out of Auburn in 2018. 6:35 first pitch. It's Zach Eflin on the bump. For Baltimore, he's 5-2 with a 4.47 ERA. Last time the O's faced Casey Mize was April 27th. Or it might have been the 26th. One of those days in that Detroit series. I'll go ahead and look that up. But Mize was effective. Granted, they were able to bump him out of the game earlier than the Tigers wanted. That final score was 4-3. And it was the 26th. It was part of that doubleheader game. In fact, it was Brandon Young's debut. That's why they called him up to be that spot starter. Mize went 5 1/3, 1 earned run, and 8 hits. The 1 run given up was a solo shot to Ryan O'Hearn. So the O's will look to stick it to him, get some vengeance against the former number 1 overall pick. I appreciate you all tuning in here on this Tuesday night. And I would like to say, wherever you are, wherever you may be listening from, I always appreciate you. I try to be active in the comments. Go ahead and leave one. Where you're listening from. What made you an Orioles fan? Your prognosis and diagnosis for this season. Because we're running out of answers. It means a lot that you're here. Always be respectful in the comments to each other. Be kind to each other. Sometimes that's all we have. I've been broadcasting from St. Louis. We'll be here for the next week, so the setup looks a little bit differently if you're watching on YouTube. As a reminder, this is bonus content. It is supplementary and complementary to Connor Newcomb's 5 days a week show. I want to say goodnight. Stay safe. I will be here for the rest of the season. Not missing another game so far as I know, unless something extraordinary happens. Good night. Stay safe. And I will see you right back here tomorrow night.